lemons, oranges, grapes, green grapes, red grapes, black grapes, watermelon, and even recently, papaya. We have seen all of these fruits and veggies, because watermelon ain't a fruit, in the store, seedless. Okay? But when you find something that has seeds in it, like this lemon, you need to grab it up. But in saving these seeds out of this lemon, out of watermelon, out of anything, whether it is store bought or whether you have grown it yourself, it is crucial to preserve and save your seeds correctly. Because if you don't, it surely won't work. If you don't do it right, it won't work. Okay? I am guilty of that myself. When I first started gardening several years ago, I didn't save my seeds correctly. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. You can dry the seeds. You can store them in the refrigerator. You can store them in airtight containers. You can use paper for your seeds. You can even use silica gel packs for your seeds. But no matter the method that you use, you need to do it correctly. So everybody has a preference as to what they like to do when it comes to preserving their seeds and saving their seeds. But it's really crucial to find out because not every seed requires the same process. So it's going to depend on what seeds you're saving, the process that you need to use. So whatever seed you're saving, you need to research and look up the process. But one of the most common ways to preserve seeds is the drying process. And I don't mean dehydrating it, okay? Please don't dehydrate your seeds, all right? Don't dehydrate them. Don't microwave them. That is not drying your seeds. If the seeds are wet or they've been treated in any kind of way with hot water, they definitely need to be dried. Drying seeds is most important for seeds that have been harvested and cleaned or went under some type of hot water process. You need to dry those seeds specifically. The first thing you want to do is take your seeds, and if they're already wet or they're under hot water, maybe you needed to get something off and you just simply rinse them off yourself. You want to take a towel and you want to start patting your seeds, patting them to get as much of the excess water off of the seeds as you can. Then you want to put your seeds on a surface that will be easy to remove them off of after they're dry. So don't put them on paper, don't put them on parchment paper because as they dry, they will probably stick. You want ceramic or wood, stainless steel, something like that to put your seeds on to let them go ahead and get dry. You want to put them in a warm, dry place, but it's kind of crucial to make sure you do this fast and get them dry as fast as possible. Because if they stay wet, then they may either mold or they could also germinate, which you don't want them to do that. Okay. So you want to get them dry as fast as possible. So if you have seeds and they are wet, go ahead, make sure you get as much moisture out as possible. Typically, I would put a paper towel in a strainer, then put my seeds in, and then start damping that excess water off, moving them around, getting as much excess water off as possible. In lieu of that, you can just spread paper towels out and then layer them as much as possible in a single layer. Put another paper towel on top and pat them dry that way. Just get as much water as you can out of them. Once you have them on your surface, you want to make sure they're spread out in a single layer in a nice, dry, warm place, but make sure it's not a hot place. If this is summertime and you're doing this for whatever reason, then you don't want to make sure your temperatures are below 90 degrees Fahrenheit. You don't want them in a very hot place. And a really good place to really place your seeds, depending on where you live, is just your windowsill. Just put them directly on the windowsill because not only will they dry faster, they'll have the natural air circulation in a windowsill, and that's what they need as well. They'll need that air circulation to go ahead and dry. You can also use silica gel, and I like to use these right here. It's dry clay, okay, because it's food grade. You can use these for anything. They're food grade, they're non-food grade. This is what they look like. I'll link this in the product links, but not a promotion. This is just what I use. I like these. I use these in food, in medicine, in clothing, in buckets for whatever, wherever I think I may have moisture. I want to make sure in my bags, in my shoes, everywhere. I use these all the time. But you can use the regular silica gels as well, depending on the moisture level that your seeds are drying in. You might want to toss a couple, around your seeds so that it can kind of help to soak up some of that moisture. You want to store your seeds in a cool, dry place. Not all seeds can go in the refrigerator. So don't just automatically say, okay, well, it's dark in there when I close the door. It's cool because it's a refrigerator, and it's dry because the dry part is the questionable part. Not all refrigerators are dry. Some accumulate moisture in there. Have you ever opened up your refrigerator and had a glass bottle of something in there? Could have been a juice, a soda. It could have been whatever. Okay. A glass bottle of something, and you see condensation on it. Okay. So you don't want that if your seeds are in there. Some seeds, it's okay, but not all seeds. And that's where you'll have to check your variety of whatever you're growing and see where you need to store the seeds from that. All right. But yes, a cool, dry, dark place. Basement, a pantry that you don't leave the light on. And yes, you're going in and out of your pantry, but you're probably not going in and out 24/7. So it's a cool, if it's in the area of your kitchen and it's in a cool, dry place, like not attached to where your stove is or your oven is, but maybe on the other side or something like that, or just a simple closet will do as well. Sometimes, depending on what you're growing, you can end up with a ton of seeds, which you should save them all. One of my favorite things to do is put them in these little bitty mason jars like this, especially if I have enough to fill, 2 or 3 jars like this, or a couple of jars like this. I will definitely do this because I can seal it. I can seal my mason jar up and I know it's airtight. All right. Typically, I still put one of these in just in case. All right. But I'll put one of these in. I'll put my seeds in here, vacuum seal my jar, and I'm good to go. Okay. Because think about it. It only takes us one seed to grow one whole huge plant. All right. So typically we always plant more than one seed just in case that one seed doesn't germinate. But it'll be a while before I get to seeds like this. And depending on the vacuum type sealer that you have that can seal these, you can open it, get some seeds out, and you can re-vacuum seal it again. All right. So this is what I like to store mine in when I have a ton of them. If I just have a handful of seeds or something, and maybe I'm going to plant them the next year, I'll just use a little plastic bag or a small paper envelope about this size. Now, you can store seeds in the refrigerator and freezer for years, but make sure that there's no moisture in there, okay? So however you preserve it, now, personally, me, I have also you can vacuum seal the bag. So if you're going to freeze them long term like that, 10 years or something, I would make sure that they are in an airtight bag that has been vacuum sealed. Okay. Make sure you vacuum seal it to make sure there's no air or moisture in that bag. And then by all means, freeze it or refrigerate it. Then you can keep them upwards of 10 years or more. I mean, years, really years. You don't want to put them in plastic. The only time I put mine in plastic is if it's something that maybe I grew this season or last season. I know I'm getting ready to plant it again, because plastic, it can mold. So you want to use a lot of seeds come in little paper envelopes that are a little bit bigger than this. Sometimes they may be about this size or something like that, about that size. You can buy those cheaply on Amazon. I'll link all these things down there in the products too, so that you guys can find it easily. But store them in paper, because if you store them in plastic, you have a greater chance of your seeds molding. And the thing about those envelopes is if you close them correctly and open them correctly, you can reuse them. So be mindful of that. If you do use them and you seal them up, don't rip them off. Just don't rip them off. Okay. Take your time and open them correctly so that you can possibly reuse them at least one other time. Make sure, crucial, crucial, crucial. That's another reason when I store them for long term, I like these little mason jars because as we all know, I don't know if you guys can see that. As we all know, you put your date, you can write right here in the middle. Okay. You want to write on there what seed it is and the variety. Don't just write tomato seed or don't just write pumpkin seed. There's tons of varieties. Make sure you have the variety on there. Sometimes the variety is almost more important than the main thing. I mean, you want to hopefully, prayerfully, you all are all just storing heirloom seeds. But if you have any other kind, you want to write on there heirloom Roma tomatoes, heirloom big boy tomatoes, or whatever it is, large cherry tomatoes, whatever it may be. You want to make sure you write that on there and write the complete date. Don't just write January on there. Write the whole date on there so you'll know how long you've had those seeds. Now, how long are these seeds going to last? It's going to depend on the fruit, vegetable, what type it is. But typically, bean seeds will last anywhere from like 3 to 5 years, tomatoes about 10 years, and other fruits and vegetables and flowers maybe 2 to 6 years. And that's just a general guideline. But you know what? I'm keeping my seeds till I get ready to use them if it's 10, 15, or 20 years from now. And my seeds, God forbid, but my seeds will be passed down, okay? Especially the seeds that I have grown continuously, like all of my herb seeds. Those seeds will be passed down. If they go to plant them and they don't germinate, there's no harm done. But if they do, this is generational food here. You can create, just like people create generational wealth, you can create generational health and food through your seed and your seed lines. Okay. If you have something that you're growing every year, year after year, that's what you want to save some seeds and hand down. Because maybe your kids are saying, I'm not going out there doing all that. I'm going to the grocery store. But one day, they might turn around and say, you know what, man, I wish I had mama's seeds, or I wish I knew, or I wish I had grandma this or grandma that. All right. So give them something. All right. And you can also, if it's something you know you're going to save to pass down and you've got it in a mason jar, it's airtight. Maybe you got a silica gel in there, which these do need to be changed out. But it depends on the moisture level. If you're not getting a lot of moisture, I don't switch mine out. If it's something that I know has moisture in it, then I may switch it out every 3 or 4 months, maybe half a year, something like that. But also include it in your seed jar like this. You can also include a mini note, okay, to give them some direction. All right. Mini note. Plant in spring in the sunniest spot. Will grow tall. Just a clue, just a hint. They can look it up from there. That's why it's important to also put on that same note the name and the variety and the date. Now, everyone that's growing anything should have one of these. This is my gardening journal, okay? Not only do I write in here what I'm growing, the results of it, the varieties of it, but also what I have stored. When I stored it, the variety, and what it takes to grow it. Is it a perennial? What does it take to grow? Where should you grow it at? Just little notes of things that I've learned. If it has a specific pest or disease that it's susceptible to, put that in your journal. All right. This stuff is generational. We have to preserve our seeds, not only for ourselves, but for those that are to come. All right. So grab your journal. It's actually a beautiful journal that my daughter gave me, but it doesn't have dates or anything in it. And I'm just showing you some of the blank pages in the end. It's blank where I can write in it however I want to write in it. I love it because of the way it closes. Like I said, my daughter gave this to me as a gift. And actually, I had a different journal and I started transferring that information into this one because this is the one that I will always have. But if you are not subscribed to the channel, take a second and subscribe to the channel. Turn on that notification bell so you won't miss anything. Don't forget to check out my other channels. Cooking at Pam's Place. I have a lot of people that find my gardening channel and they say, "Are you that lady that cooks?" Yes, I am. I am Cooking at Pam's Place. I am also at Pam's POV. And I am also at Pam's Pop-Ups. That's my newest channel where I do live streams. So I don't always get to answer the questions in the comments, but I will be popping up live. I do pop up live over there, and that's your chance to actually talk with me in person and ask me what you need to ask me if I didn't see your message. So make sure you subscribe to that channel as well and turn the notification bell on so you'll know when I pop up. Thank you all so much. Let's get to 100,000 subscribers together. I appreciate each and every one of you all. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Pam. This is Zone 8A. And anywhere you can sit a pot, you can grow a plant.